new headphones. I love those headphones, John. I really do. Uh, our special guest this afternoon is Mr. Maurice Miller. He is the Arlington High School boys basketball coach. Maurice, which would you rather me call you? Or doesn't matter.
It don't matter. It don't matter. Coach Mo is
Okay,
pretty much it's cool.
preferable. Okay,
Yes, sir.
not a problem. Coach Mo, thank you very much for joining us. Um, John, do you want to give a little more insight into Coach Miller?
Yeah, a little more insight on Maurice Mo Miller, who is now the Arlington boys basketball coach, year two. Memphis or high school fans might know him from the good old Raleigh Egypt Pharaoh days when he played at Raleigh Egypt under Jimmy Adams. And then he went on to Georgia Tech, played the good old Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. As a Georgia fan myself, I hate to say it, but he played at Georgia Tech. No, kid, no hard feelings there.
Oh, it's
But but he also, like I said, we talked about, he also played overseas for a little bit. He had an assistant coaching gig at Lausanne. But Maurice Mo Miller, welcome to the show. Appreciate everything you do for high school hoops in general in the Memphis area, and welcome to the show.
Oh, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you and Wes for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Where can we start, Maurice Mo Miller? First of all, talk about your playing days at Raleigh Egypt, where you had your jersey retired at the middle school level and the high school level at Raleigh Egypt.
Yeah, I've just been blessed. That community, it's been great to me. They still embrace me to this day. Not to mention, I started my head coaching career at Raleigh Egypt, which also made it unique. And it's in me for life. It built me the relationships. Coach Adams, Coach Bell, just that environment. It's big, and the way I carry myself now, and um, just motivated.
Man, what was it like to play under a legendary coach and Jimmy Adams? I've always said the three. Well, I know there's more people on the Mount Rushmore, but if I had to put three people on the Mount Rushmore in high school basketball in the Memphis area, Jimmy Adams, Terry Tibbett, and Kimmy Smith by far the top three on that Mount Rushmore. So, what was it like to play under Coach Jimmy Adams?
It's unique, um, but it helped prepare me for the next level, of course. But then also playing with some of the guys I played with, we were talented with Lawrence and Rico and Vashawn and Michael, Tim. We had a really good team. So with me being so young, I was able to really mature fast and grow up fast. And I was one of the only few at the time. Back then, if you played varsity as a freshman, it was different. Now a lot of kids do it, but it was rare then. But to be able to play under them and also to play under Jimmy, who had college experience, who also coached several players as myself, it really really helped me a lot, and it just helped me grow and just wanting more, and being around the players that we were around. Like even to this day, I talked to Coach Adams yesterday. We talk just about every day, 2-3 times a week. I'm still learning. I didn't stop learning. I still talk to all my coaches, from Jimmy to Coach Hewitt to just a lot of wisdom. And if I continue to learn, then I can continue to teach. So that's the beauty of it. Is me always seeking knowledge and always trying to find a deeper understanding of myself, people, different situations that I go through. Of course, they've been through it, so um, you're never too old or too wise to continue to learn and continue to grow. And so that's been the biggest majority of what goes on now is just having those lifelong relationships. It's so much bigger than sports, and those coaches, they impacted my life that way. So that's how I try to do with my guys, and just about every guy that I've coached, we still talk. They come in town, they still come to the gym no matter where I am. Um, and it's a beautiful feeling as a coach to have that. And just to know that you're being productive in other people's lives and you're helping them throughout my experiences and my journeys and my connections. And so that's the most rewarding feeling. And so that's my why, you know. Um, and so that's just how I just approach my day every day. I wake up 3, 4 in the morning and I read, I watch videos. Like I'm just always trying to enhance my brain. The more I learn and the more I continue to seek different things, whether it's saying things differently, different approaches, different concepts from just all the greats, not just the ones that coached me, but just learning and just like now. That's the goal. I'm sorry, I kind of bounced
No, you're
around.
good. Hey, it's all good.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good.
Well, when you play under a legendary coach, like you said,
Coach.
Jimmy. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, John.
He's brought up a good point because it does have that college teaching under Larry Finch back in the day, and also coaching at Ole Miss. A lot of
Right.
people don't really know that
Yeah.
about Jimmy Adams.
Coach, when you look at Arlington, obviously, I mean,
But
I coached in the youth football program there at Bartlett, so I'm very familiar with Arlington and how passionate their fan base really can be. Obviously, the youth level is completely different than it is at the high school level. Um, and you look at the success that that school has had since they've came about. What is it like to coach with, I would say, a pretty rabid fan base? Would you describe the Arlington fan base as a pretty rabid fan base?
I would. They're very supportive, and I don't take that for granted. Every day, just having that support and having the parents and the school with Mr. Duncan, just everybody. I genuinely and truly love it there. So I look forward to actually getting up and going to work every day. I call it work, but it's not work. And so that's what every day, like that's why I teach and preach to the guys about respecting the game, respecting themselves, and it's so much bigger than themselves. That's why we versus me and just different things, because we represent something bigger than ourselves, which is that community first, themselves, their family, their community, and it's a prideful community, and so we want to make sure we continue the tradition and we continue the legacy. And so that's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to rewrite the wheel or anything, build on tradition and blaze new trails. That's it. So that's one of the biggest things we're trying to
There
do
you
is
go.
just
There
build
you
on the
go.
tradition that was already there and also, create our own lane and blaze a new trail. That way we'll be memorable as well for what we're doing.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Go ahead, John.
um, Coach, you were talking about Raleigh as you played there, like we just talked about a few minutes ago. But you also talked about your first head coaching job there. You coached there for 4 seasons. You did. I think you won 3 games your first year. Second year, 9 wins. Third year, 19 wins. And then your last year, you won 24 wins. That district alone was one of the craziest district or toughest districts around in the Memphis area.
Was
But
brutal.
just it's
Yes.
brutal. Yeah, I call it the SEC of football. But now now you're in District 14 AAA, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But yeah, just talk about those 4 years as a head coaching job at that school as well.
Well, it was great, and just first going, and it even goes back to Coach Adams, and like even because at the time I was still like I was in my prime in basketball. Like I don't think people really understand that. So even like now, like I still can play. So like now when I play, people are like, man, why do you coach? Like, but it's like I can pick up a ball and change my life, or I can coach and impact the community or be legendary in different ways. So just my vision is just completely different, But to re-elaborate on that, it motivated me. It humbled me, but it also motivated me, and just knowing, for them to give me a chance. Coach Bo Griffin at the time, he was the principal. But and it started with Jimmy Adams. Jimmy Adams came and got me. Like he walked me in the door. Like he, because me personally, I was like, man,
Wow.
they're not gonna hire me. I have no experience. I'm young. You always get this. Great players can't be good coaches. You hear all that, but it was rewarding. Getting that job, I appreciate the guys who came to help me. I called a lot of legends who I won't name, but people who come from Raleigh. Nobody wanted anything to do with it. Everybody was too busy or had other things going on or was coaching at other schools than rebuilding that tradition. But with the guys that I got from Holmes and Coach Tank to Coach Irvin, even AJ at the time, he helped. And so we just started there, and blessed to have, Coach Hurd, Thad, Coach Felton, they, from our relationships and growing up, and for them to sponsor Raleigh Egypt and to help us at that school with no, quote unquote, no players at the time, like, they were there for me like before people really start believing in me or the concept. And so I'm forever grateful and humble for that. um and it just, most people, it motivated me. I lost a lot of sleep, but I just wanted to figure it out. I wanted to learn, and credit to those kids, those same kids. Or even when you go back to, we won 24 games, which we underachieved. We lost to a Fayette team who got us. But I think that that time we beat Wooddale like 2 out of the 3 times. We beat them in
Yeah, I was there for one of them.
we beat them in the Jamboree as well. So I just feel like we weren't scared of anything. Um, and and so even when I run into coaches now, they talk about that team, how unique that team was. Like, coach, I just knew you guys were going to the state championship. And so, but unfortunately it wasn't in God's plans. But just to know, like I said, we built off tradition, we blazed the trail. Even there, people remember that team. The tallest person on that team was 6'3". So it was just all about heart.
Wow.
And and so,
Wow.
I
6'3".
those kids are still my boys to this day. Like, it's so much bigger than basketball. And so, but those are the same kids that won 3 games, that won 9 the next year. And so Coach Wright, he always used to help me. He was like, you lose by a lot, you lose by a little, you win by a little, you win by a lot. Nothing happens overnight.
Sorry
And
to interrupt
so,
you real quick.
and
Sorry to interrupt you real quick. You talking about Coach Major, right?
yeah, football, and
Okay. Yeah.
which is a good friend of mine. Like, we still talk. I talked to him a
Okay.
couple days ago, and so just knowing my passion. But anybody who knew me, I was always in the gym. We relentless hours. The kids were in there, and so that's how we did that collectively. Of course, with me being the head, but it was just so many people behind me and the kids, that helped, and we just nobody came to the games. I screenshotted messages when so many people talked about me, talked about us. Nobody was, I wasn't fit, I wasn't this, I wasn't that. I didn't take it personal. I just used it as motivation. And you have to be change is misunderstood sometimes. So it takes time for people to really understand you and understand what you're truly trying to do. And so just prayer and grind and relentless effort. And those kids, those parents, the Raleigh Egypt community, we all got behind each other, and we created something special.
Wes.
Most definitely, Coach. Just listening to the passion in your voice, just speaks volumes as to what you bring to not only the community of Raleigh, Egypt when you were there, but now the community in Arlington where you are now. Can you speak a little bit on the struggles and the difficulties of this COVID 19, as everybody called last season and this season too, the COVID 19 year?
Right. It's the most it's unique. It's been challenging. Like even now, we've had to change or adjust every bit of 8 to 12 games, due to COVID related issues. But at the same time, it's even a blessing to be able to, it's so many kids that's not getting this opportunity. And so
Right.
you complain about it, but you don't want to complain about it because, somebody's not even getting the opportunity. But with following the protocols and having again a great structure, a great head up top from Arlington, the community on down with how structured and how organized we are, and having flexible parents and having kids who understand how valuable it is to follow the guidelines, but also understand that it's bigger than just that one person. You represent one person can shut everything down. And so you have to be disciplined, you have to be focused, you have to really be determined and understand that what you're doing is a blessing and you don't want to ruin it. And you definitely don't want to ruin it for other people. And so to the best of your ability, you got to adjust, you got to figure it out. So that's just like now we're under COVID guidelines is where all the guys are quarantined. So um, we can get back in the gym on the 12th, and we play Bartlett on the 15th. But
Wow.
it
That's a
comes
quick
with
turnaround there, Coach.
yeah. But I mean, that's what we signed up for. No complaints. We just got to figure it out. And so like I said, I could complain about it, but then again, it's the kid that's not playing. It's the coach that's not coaching. So we're not gonna complain about it. We're gonna make the best of our opportunity. Um, and so that's just gives you a brief summary of this year.
Wow.
Mo,
Wow.
you also played you played your college days at Georgia Tech under Paul Hewitt, where you averaged about 6 points a game, 3 assists, and a few rebounds per game as well. And I like that in the guard where they go at and get a rebound here and there as well, because they've always said that the guards should at least grab the boards as well. So talk about Paul Hewitt and Georgia Tech playing days where you played at Cameron Indoor back in the day and all of them.
Right, and I had a pretty good game. I always did pretty well there as well. But I just grew up, man. My
Or
mom.
what made you fall in love with Georgia Tech? What other schools were recruiting you? What made you fall in love with Georgia Tech?
I was pretty much recruited by every school in the country, maybe except Duke and North Carolina. I got a couple letters from North Carolina, but um, I had a 4.6 GPA, so it wasn't. I was ranked, and then I was sophisticated. So I could have went to Stanford, Yale. I could have pretty much wrote my ticket anywhere. I think again having that relationship with Dad. Of course he left before I got there, but um, at the time Georgia Tech ACC was the mecca. It was where you wanted to be. Every time you cut the TV on, it was if you didn't play, it was real. So it was point guard university at that time. All the point guards who come through there did, extremely well. And he would recruited me, but I had a great relationship with Peter Zaharis, and it just felt right. The guys there, we're still close to this day. We still talk with every one of my teammates that I play with. Like we're really really close. So it's a family and it's a bond, and so I don't regret anything I've done or the decisions I've made. I just, maybe wish I would have been more experienced in making the decisions at the time. But you live and you learn. That's why I coach now. That's why I'm here for my kids now to really break everything down and to really go through the processes and to really separate the real from the fake, because it's a lot in this game and it's so political and it's such a business and you have to understand that. And so which finding the fine line of, kids understanding that you care for them and that you're not quote unquote hating on them, when you're keeping it real sometimes. And so just being at that level, playing at that level, making my mistakes at that level, um, I can kind of give kids a deeper insight on kind of what it takes to get there. And then also still being young, being 32, I still can play. So not only, can I tell you some things, but I can show you some things. And so that works out in my advantage as well. So but that's it, man. I like it's so much. You see the guys, and even you see how they respond to me and different things, and how hard we work. But I'm on them. I'm on them tough, but they know I love them and they know I care for them. The relationship that I have with them, like I mean, that's my why. It's not winning or losing. It's like the way we bond, the way we relate. But it's the respect that they have for me and the respect that I have for them. Um, it just makes me eager to want to wake up tomorrow or to see myself 10 years from down the line. And like, even when I made that post, like I really was just looking at things. And then I realized like, and that wasn't to brag or boast, but it's like, coming from where we come from and, being so young. And I was like, I'm 6 games away from 100. And man, it just was a surreal feeling. And just to see that, how my fan base has grown so much, because it goes back to when I started at Raleigh, Egypt. It was even some close people to me. I pay attention to social media. I see so many things. People talk and do this or that. And I don't, one of the biggest things, if you want to have longevity in this game, is you can't take things personal. And so I just understand it. I see it and you use it as motivation. And even teaching the guys, when you see write-ups or you see things or people don't write what you want them to write or you don't read what you want to read. Okay, you put it in the memory bank. Whenever you want to slack or you don't want to work or you don't want to do this, you go back and you look at that. And that tends to make you put your work boots on.
Yeah.
And so even last year, it's about beating the odds. Every year it's just finding some motivation and even doing what we're doing this year, like even throughout COVID, I think it's special. Um, and we're taking it a good game at a time. The schedules are unique, but like we got 5 kids that's averaging double figures. Like that is
Wow.
a hard thing to do. Not only that, having
Yes.
2 other kids, that's averaging 7, 8 points. The kids have fully locked in from the
Wow.
senior leadership with Jace and Madison and Isaiah. They love each other. They care for each other. Like it's different. And so, man, we already, champions. We already winners in my book, and so
Right.
um and so that's the biggest thing is just enhancing and growing and taking it one game at a time. So
Before I talk about Arlington, like a few, in a few minutes again, I'm sorry, but talk about your playing overseas days back in the day as well.
well, I played in Sweden, Holland, and Iceland. So
Which one do you
um
like best?
well
Iceland
again,
because it's cold? No, I'm kidding.
well actually it just depends on your mindset at that time because Iceland, that was my first, coming from ACC. Normally, you get workouts and everything in the NBA just off ACC. Well, I came out lockout year, so it was tough. So, um, I had to prove myself. So I went to Iceland. I played in the Icelandic League, and I love it. It is a part of my life. I grew so much, and at the time we were maybe on one of the low end teams, and I got there, and I took them to the Cup Finals, and we did some special things, and I almost averaged a double double. I had a triple double like 4 or 5 times that year, and just waking up every day feeling slept on, just waking up every day using that as motivation. And we went from Iceland to Holland, which is Amsterdam, which was one of the top leagues my second year. Um, my pay went from 6 times my salary what I was making my first year. Not saying it was about the money, but it was about seeing the vision before um, it came to light. It was again about using that as a stepping stone to go get what I feel like I deserve. And so, um, from there, I did well there. Then I went to Sweden, which was nice as well. So it was getting better and better. But I tore my rotator's cuff,
Mm.
and so I didn't want to get surgery there. So I decided to let it heal on its own, which is like 9 to 12 months. So that's when I came back to Memphis. This is actually how I got into coaching. And in Raleigh at the time, just typical day at the gas station, I ran into a good friend of mine who's older but came to all my high school games and was like, "Man, I want you to train my son. I pay you whatever." And I started training his son, and then it went from 1 kid to 3 kids, then 5 kids. Then I was at Lausanne, and it just happened so fast. And so that pretty much helped me sway. And I got so deep in it to where it was like, okay, once I was healed, it was like, do I want to start now and get a head start? Play 5, 6 more years and then, try to figure out what's next, or do I go ahead and get a head start? And now I'm 6 years in, so all the people that are kind of done playing around my time are looking for coaching jobs or trying to find coaching gigs or trying to get established. And so I'm already kind of ahead of the curve on that, with this being my 6th year. So, I just took the scenic route.
Okay, and now we can talk about your Arlington coaching career a little bit more in detail. Like you just brought up, you now have 100 wins, in your high school career. So congratulations on that. I know it's quite an accomplishment. And I know it's hard to do in the Memphis area in general with all these talent. Um, you went to the sub-state last year and lost to Houston, where you had a chance to go to state, unless, I know it wasn't being played after all because of COVID, whatnot. But y'all did some amazing things under your first year at Arlington by beating Bartlett in the district championship, winning the region championship over us as well. Just talk about last year before we get to this year.
Well, I think first feeding them to the Wolves was the best thing I could have did. And what I mean by the Wolves, we went to Whitehaven. We went to Tipton Rosemark. We started off brutal. And not to mention that with inheriting the job, I started with 58 kids. So even throughout that summer, I had to break them up into groups because I had so many kids I wanted to evaluate and observe. But we lost 3, 4 games early. A lot of people wrote us off. I remember even being in the cafeteria, and I don't even know if he noticed it. And I was talking to Mr. Duncan, just working. I was like, we're not going to lose more. It'll be a while before we lose again. And that was right before we went on that 17, 18 game win streak. But it was just the process, man. You got to understand that we're young, understand that we were new, but we were also talented. I wanted them to have some humbling experiences early. And so I wanted to play everybody who wanted to play. If they weren't on the schedule, their schedule was full, or they didn't have room for a game. I love playing great teams. I love playing legends. I love playing great coaches because I want to not only evaluate my talent and my players, but I also want to see where I am, as coaching and maneuvering. And so that's why I love coaching against the legends like Coach Lawson and the coach at Briarcrest and
Arlington.
Ridgeway. I'm not trying to disrespect them by calling the schools. I just don't want to call out everybody's names, but it was a honor and a privilege. And even Coach Real. Every time I coach against Coach Real, it's just so many. I left some out. White Station, like all those coaches, I have the utmost respect for.
Yeah, Scales and
Um,
Tippett from Cordova.
right,
Yeah.
for their programs. Coach Scales as well. I'm sorry, I left him out. And so, as me being young and wanting to try to create something that they've created. So it's all about listening and learning and taking heed and taking notice, but also being competitive. And so I think they admire that about me as well. And so it humbled us. It put us in a position of where okay, we got to work harder, we got to work longer. We got to get up earlier, we got to figure it out. And so and again, credit to those kids and even the parents. They for sticking with me. They had rough moments. A lot of times, you don't quite see the vision that we see or that's put forth or the perspective, but everybody's sticking in and battling and getting through the storm. I think it kind of helped mold us, and it made us to where we are now. And I think that's a big tribute to why we have five guys in double figures is because they realized they needed each other fast. You individual talent will only take you so far. You only win so many games. Even when you play against teams that have great kids that's averaging 20 and 30, there's nothing, no knock to it, but it's hard to scout a team that you got 5 or 6 guys that's averaging 10 points. It's hard to count out a team like that. Um, and so we just want to keep growing and keep learning. And that's what I keep telling them. Yeah, we have guys that could average 30 who are sacrificing, tremendously for the betterment of the team. But I think they get it now. I mean, we've had guys who've had 30, a couple of 30-point games this season, but when you look at the balance, I think that's the main thing we want to keep forth and we want to keep pushing as far as we versus me. And if we do that, we're gonna play against some great talent. Our schedule is tough; it gets tougher, but I think it puts us in position to be able to win. And so that's at that point, that's all we can ask for.
Are any of last year's players playing college basketball right now?
Yeah. Well, with COVID, I don't know if their season started, but we didn't lose a lot of seniors. So
Right.
Connor actually went to school. He went to college for school. Um, Chris McKnight is at Columbia State, and so um, yeah, that's everybody pretty much came back.
All
This
right.
this year we
Yeah.
have 5 seniors. So
Yeah, this year you're on to a hot start and 12-0 on the year. And you talk about your seniors this year, bring up Jake Golday, who's plays football and basketball, which I've always been a fan of Jake Golday because he's a two-sport athlete, and I want to see more kids do that.
great kid,
Jake
great
gives you like
family.
8 rebounds a game.
Yes.
He might not grab a lot of points for you, but he's one of those hustlers on and off the court that can grab you some rebounds.
Yeah, so I love everything about Jake. Even the Gold Days, like that whole family is first class, and
Yeah, Central Arkansas signing for football that people don't know.
right, and
But yeah,
so everything he's getting, he deserves, man. And even understanding that with us being 12-0, Jake has taken some time away from the team. Jake hasn't played. Just knowing the simple fact that football is his heart. And even as a coach, understanding that, I understand we would be so much better with him. But understanding what he wants and his goals and his perspectives, we respect that. So we've been without Jake. We've been without Andre Watson. He broke his thumb. So we've had our battles, but we haven't complained about them. And this will be the first and the last time you ever hear me say anything about them. But you know, if he decides to come back, he's still on the roster. His jersey's still ready for him. But we respect his decision wholeheartedly. But he's forever one of us, and
Right.
he's a great kid. And I could talk for days about it.
What other players can you talk about this year in general? I know you got Mr. Dodson out there averaging like 20 a game lately, but
Man, you really from all of them.
Yeah.
If we want to start from seniors, but Isaiah, of course, he's everything is advertised. He's a double, triple double. Like he's one of those kids that you ain't got to run a play for. You look at the stat sheet, you have 16 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Madison is, man, like I truly wish people, could really see the growth that this kid has made within 1 year. Um, he's matured so much. He's having, when you watch him, you could just see him having fun. He's believing in his teammates. He's getting off the ball. Like that's really the key to the operation, of where we have 5 or 6 guys. We go as he go. He's just a relentless warrior. He's a dog. He played both ends of the floor. And so he's really set the tone and set the bar for us this year, even last year with him, averaging 20 points and winning everything. It's not even about points for this kid. This kid can score 6 points to be the happiest person on the team.
I've seen it personally.
And,
Yeah.
and so that's how I know we're getting there. We're becoming a team. They don't care about that, and he's capable. If he wanted to, he could score 20, 30, Isaiah could do 20, 30, if we tried to force the wheel. They don't care about that. They just want to win. And they want to do it the right way, and they want to do it together. And so, Isaiah the same way. Phil has, it's like I tell in his process and his parents, and just trusting the process, and he's getting everything he deserves. Like this kid works phenomenal, like his game is expanding so much. His confidence is through the roof now. He literally has the free range and will to shoot the ball from once we get off the bus.
Yeah.
Like literally, like his oh, it's just a pleasure to have him. His first class family, 4 point some GPA. Definitely will be a Division I player, whether it's high, or I can even see him at a Stanford or a Yale or a Belmont or a Penn, or and not to take too long, Jace Lockhart Senior, man, who's our captain of the team, just embodies everything we want to embody as the qualities, being a young man and working hard and being on time and looking decent, looking presentable, first class family, like, Brian, BJ Gilmore, like my whole roster, like, Javar, my big fella, Anthony Matlock, my 2 sophomores. I think, of course, Dre's a sophomore too, as he's hurt, but Anthony Matlock and Javar Daniel their growth, for them to be able to take how hard we're on them every day. I ride them like a horse, but they know I love them, and so, and their growth, and to see their growth, I really, by next year, and I could really see them being top 100 players in the country. They both have phenomenal size, length. They're doing well in the classrooms. And so our future's bright, man. I may have left some, like we got we got young kids like Aiden, Jamarcus. I may have left some names out,
It's all good.
but Arlington is if you have something, hopefully we're making the people proud. We're working every day of, just trying to do things the right way. Um, going in there, trying to take it one game at a time. Um, and so just putting it on the map, like even in our last tournament we played with, it's nothing to brag about, but it was just like people stayed to to see us play, to watch us play, and people wanted pictures with the kids and stuff, and I could see it meant something to them, and that's what I mean when I tell them about making those daily sacrifices, for each other. You take care of me always get taken care of on the back end, and so that's just what we've been
Good
preaching.
point. Yeah.
When you know your role, you play your role. Um, you know, People tend to want to watch the movie. Everybody wants to watch a good movie, and if
Right.
you make a great movie, they want to watch it over and over. Um, so we make, I make those analogies that, even a band, like I tell them, we're a band. Everybody got an instrument. Play your instrument. You know, Everybody do your role, do your job. If you play the drums, play the drums. Which basically, if you're a shooter, then you shoot. But if you're not, you're not a shooter, then I'm not saying don't hit the drum every now and then, but don't beat on it like you're the number one drum player in the world. It's just about them understanding that, and so, but I let them hoop, man. They
Yeah.
understand me more. I don't have to really stand up. They feed off my energy, so I stand up, but I don't have to manufacture as much anymore. They got a deeper understanding, and it's just scary. Like I sit up and talk to my wife all the time, and she was like, just the chemistry that my Raleigh Egypt team had year 4. And she be like, "Man, I can't wait to see these kids when they together 3-4 years. It's gonna be scary with the type of talent we have."
Yeah.
And so, we just trust in the process. It's kind of like the candy. You want it now, but you also have to understand and prepare for later as well. So, it's that's the perspective and the light we're in. So we're working on being the best version of us now, but we're also, trying to be the best version later as well.
All right,
So
this is my last two questions for you, but my first one will be before you can prep for next week and whatnot. But my first one is talk about your assistant coaching staff a little bit in detail. And there's a guy that I know that's on the staff with you pretty well named Antonio Wilkerson. But can you give it talk about your assistant coaches?
yeah, well, Tonio, due to COVID reasons,
Oh, okay.
Antonio and Coach Brown, they have elder people in their family, so they're not with Arlington at all this year, due to the circumstances and situations, and doing what's best for their family. So we completely understand that. So it's been unique, but
Can
they
you talk?
still.
Can you talk about like what they bring to the game a little bit in general?
Yeah, well, Tonio is just whatever you need, man. Like that's what I love about my brothers. It's early mornings, late nights. Tank was the same way. It don't matter what you need. It's never I got this to do or I got that to do, or like I told you, even when we was having our moments, man, we were in the gym more than late before school, whatever it took to figure it out. And even Coach Irvin, Coach Blaine Brewer as well. Man, I have a phenomenal staff. There's no big names, no big eyes or little U's. Um, but but together collectively, we're just as big as any coach in the world. And so that's the vision and that's the mindset that we put forth, and we lean on each other. Nobody critiques us like we do. Um, Understanding that even we make mistakes. Um, And so it's an open board. And when you have that from the head, everything under tends to fall in line. And so, man, I'm just blessed to have them. Hopefully, next year, if things can fix it and we can figure it out. But they're still on the phone if I need them. If I need something to talk to, Coach Brewer and Coach Irvin are still apart this year. So they're miraculously, still helping with, all these COVID issues and protocols and temp checks, and there's so much you have to do to even get to practice. Wipe down the lockers every day in the locker rooms, masks every day. We got a daily chart log of everything we do. And so there's no way that I could do that by myself. I am nothing without them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's real. Like, they take so much off me. And so, and even having the additions of Coach Carl and Coach Brandon this year, um, man, I'm blessed to have them, because there's so much that has to go on, not including, the scheduling and all the stuff that I have to do. And so it's so much now to try to form any type of normalcy. So, um, man, they're all future head coaches. And I can really see that. And I pray every day, like I tell them, even trying to get them to leave from under my wing. They so loyal and dedicated to me. But like I tell them, man, fill out some of those applications. Apply. Like you have a resume now. You're battle tested. You know enough now. It's time to spread your wings. And so I'm always one of them type guys, man. Everybody eats. Everybody prospers. It's a greater feeling when everybody can pay for a meal than just waiting on one person to do it. And so, and so that's, hopefully, that's what we live by. So that's when you're thinking that way and you're moving of that nature, you tend to take more W's than L's. So that's pretty much it, man.
All right, I know you talked about you got a layoff until like the 12th, right? So you don't start practice back till the 12th?
Right.
So y'all do have a game next Friday at Bartlett. There's only 2 teams in this year's district as of right now. Everybody keeps on telling me, hey, tell Mo, tell Dion, we still need a best of 3 games, for the deciding who plays first place.
Then what's crazy is I just talked to Dion. We talked for like 30 minutes, man. So, man, it's always great to pick his brain. And just talking about the different scenarios in the district and different things. And so, if God forbid, if one team gets COVID, what do we cancel? Do we forfeit? And man, we're gonna we're gonna try our best to give the people what they want. But also understand that last year we played 5 times, so no worries.
Yeah.
We're going to play each other 5 times. So the first game is good to talk about for 24 hours, and we'll see them again 2 weeks, and then we'll see each other again next week, and then next week. So, I mean, it means nothing. Like, but the joy and the passion that you get out of seeing a Bartlett and Arlington game, is second to none. It reminds me of the Raleigh to Wooddale games. And if you haven't seen
That's saying something right there.
you can go on YouTube and watch them. Like, and even you can go back and look at our Bartlett and Arlington games. I hate that we can't give everybody a chance to see it. With the COVID restrictions, but I'm sure it'll be broadcast live. But
yeah, you'd have easy 4,000 people there easy without COVID.
Right. And so, but it's the first of many. Like, Coach Real being young, myself being young, I feel like this should be going on for a while. And as a coach, you can see the smile on my face. I love it. I love those type of environments. I love to put my kids in those type of environments. Win, lose, or draw, man. As long as we compete and we put it on the line, I have nothing to complain about. and that's the thing. And so I think with my kids understanding that, that's why we tend to play as hard as we play, because I always tend to respect the game. You know, if you respect the game, you treat the game fairly, it tends to take care of you on the back end. So I'm expecting a roller coaster as usual. Um, of course, you want to win them all, but understanding that we're playing a really good team. Coach Real has assembled a really good team. He has some unique puzzles. He got some good kids, and so I have the utmost respect for him, and for that program. And we, we just trying to get Arlington there. We're just trying to, kick in the door and, let them know we're here just as well. And, become locally, nationally a household name. That's what it's about. But in order to do that, you got to take it one day at a time. So that's the method. But we're definitely, no worries. You're gonna get more than 3 games for sure.
Yeah, we talked about you brought up a good point because you also said, Memphis in general, these schools like yourself from the Raleigh Egypt days, now Arlington days, from Dion to Coach Davis to Coach Scales to Coach Lawson, are playing these national teams like Hamilton Heights, uh, IMG Academy, and et cetera, and Oak Hill Academy whenever they come to town, whenever they do. That always gets a lot of teams ready to play the tougher teams going into the postseason. Can you elaborate on that as well a little bit?
Yeah, and even if you look at our track record, go back and look at my track record of the beauty of building relationships with, with Travis, with Lighthouse, and you don't I had to like our Atlanta versus Met, like
Right.
especially when you do it when you're not established and you're trying to sell your product or your team to somebody and they like, yeah, so, but throughout the years, we progressed enough to play in those events, and so like when you go back 2 years ago, we had Whitney Young beat. They got a Duke commit on there. Um, with those same Raleigh Egypt kids, we were up at halftime. You go back last year, we had Hamilton Heights beat all the whole game until the last 2 minutes, and they were number one in the country at the time. I had all types of teams huddling me, trying to figure out what type of game plan or philosophy we use to make that happen. But also not to, Memphis has some national teams, playing against their Wooddale team at that time, with both the
Right.
brothers and like, so I go back to Hamilton had a well equipped team maybe 3 years ago when they won state. Um, so it's just about getting in front of those teams and not being afraid to lose or the what ifs and just thinking how you can learn and better yourself from it. And even going back to that one when I told you our tallest person was 6'3" in Raleigh, Egypt. So, it was about nuts and guts for us, you know, and not literally fighting, but it's if you ain't gonna win the game, we're gonna win the fight, which is we gonna outwork the other opponent. When we get done, you're gonna have the utmost respect for us as individuals and as men. And so um and I think that helped gain, the guys respect, and I think that also helped me as a coach gain, the little respect that I have gained thus far because they like, he's young, but he know what he's talking about, or he's on the right track, or he's and so that's been the battle. But we've been blessed, to win some of those, get in those games and play in those games. Those games been good for my guys. We had a national schedule this year until we couldn't travel out of town. I was gonna
Yeah.
feed them to the wolves again. Man, I don't care about losing. I don't. I want to win, but I want to be there. I want to play who talked about. I want the best players. I feel like I got some pretty good players, so I want to put them in position, to make a name for themselves. And so that's what it's about. So, and anybody who knows me or knows anything of, my DNA and the way we're built, you know, respect all, fear none. And so, we'll play anybody. We wanted to do some things this year, it didn't work out. So, but even now, just trying to assemble the best possible schedule throughout, the COVID-19 restrictions. So again, like if you don't see them on the schedule, maybe I got to them too late. But I tried to play everybody that could possibly play. And so because I want to answer all the questions. I don't want, well, they played such and such or they didn't play such and such. So I want to check all the boxes. And so, and then that helps us evaluate us as players and us as coaches and us as a program, whether it's locally or nationally. And so we're headed in the right direction, you know.
Well, I hate to say this to you, Mo. I'm not going to be able to make it next Friday due to work. But good luck to y'all against Bartlett.
No, I'm sure it'll be live stream, so I'm sure you'll be watching it.
Yeah, from work at FedEx. But yeah,
that may break the live stream record this season. I'm quite sure it's going to be a lot of people tuned into that game. So
hey, we also got the Bartlett radio, so that's always a good thing. But I hate that I can't be a part of them this year due to COVID and work and whatnot. And I know it's always a battle when you and Coach Real get together. And I just want to say good luck to you the rest of the way. I know the players are excited to be back on the basketball court starting next week. And like I said, thank you for everything that you've done for the city of Memphis so far up to date. City of Arlington really appreciates you, I'm sure, as well. And hey, you're fun to be around on and off the basketball court as well.
I appreciate it, man. And likewise, man, it's I appreciate you guys for having me, man. I take nothing for granted, man. Like even, you guys' time today. And again, I hate you can't make it Friday, but it's gonna be one for the books. But we have several more coming, and so they never get old. And so
unless you and Coach Real can push it to a weekend game, that's the only way I can go right now.
But we'll make it happen. And again, it's always a pleasure to compete against Bartlett and Coach Real. I think people at one point try to make it so personal, and they don't understand the admiration and the respect I have for him. And with me being young, it's never, like I said, even talking to him before we did this interview. And so he
didn't tell you anything bad about us since we interviewed him last week, did he? No, I'm kidding.
No,
2 weeks ago. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to Coach Hill, but yeah.
It's a fun time, man, and I look forward. This is just round one, so it's gonna be a heavyweight fight. So it's round one. I'm expecting 4 or 5 rounds, and so
I'm sitting the full 12. What are you talking about?
Yeah, if it could go 12, it would go 12. Sure. So, but no, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate the time.
Like I said, I appreciate it, man.
Anything you guys need, you got my numbers. Just give me a call, and whatever you guys need, I got you.
Hopefully throughout the year as well. I know Wes will tell you this as well. Hopefully throughout the year we can get a basketball player or two, and then you can join them as well and just talk about how much progress that y'all have gotten throughout the year in this crazy COVID-19 season.
Most definitely. Sounds good.
Go ahead, Wes.
Well, Coach Miller, thank you very much for joining us today. Once again, thank you for everybody for watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook as well. Also listening over on the iHeartRadio app. We're also on there as well. And also our website viewers. Thank you very much. For John Sturdivant, I'm Wes Pruitt. Mo Miller, you've been an amazing interview today. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you
we
guys.
very much appreciate it.
You guys be blessed. Have a